Hello, I hope you can see me and hear me okay. I'm doing things slightly different this time. I'm involved in it's like a blog hop and it's a sewing challenge, and it's called Sew Fearless. If you hashtag Sew Fearless, and it's hosted by Akram's Ideas and Megan Handmade. I found out about this challenge through Becky Skinner from Notes from the Sewing Room, and actually I've looked at the list of all the other YouTubers involved, and even including the hosts, Becky's the only one I know, and that's only because even though I've been doing these sewing blogs for like over a year, I hadn't been watching other sewing bloggers until recently, and there's actually so many out there. It's a lot to get through, so I'm going to check out. So if you're new here, hi, and if you're one of the other YouTubers, I am going to check you out, and if you're watching this, thank you for coming along to see me. I think I've watched other YouTubers. I've said this to my following, and I feel like mine are a little bit unprofessional. I'm actually filming this Saturday. I think you might be seeing this Monday or Tuesday. Usually when I do these blogs, I tend to just record them. I don't watch them back, and I just put them on as they are. So and what I've done, connected to this video, I've done a blog. So at the moment on Saturday when I'm filming this, it's private, but when this goes up, hopefully it will all correspond, that blog post will go live with this video link, and I can put that blog post link in this video. So cause sometimes I feel that you need to see photographs of things, and it's easier to show you, and often what I say to my viewers, check out my Instagram, which is also at Claire Who Makes Things with underscores between the letters, because you'll see the corresponding photographs. But I've realised if somebody watches my video, say 2 years down the line, and then they want to see the photographs, they'd have to go on my Instagram and look through 2 years worth of my photos, and I don't really think that's fair. So I'm going to, I did have this blog before, so when I started doing this channel, so I'm going to get in that habit now. So I'll still post my things on my Instagram, which will automatically go to my Periwinkle Crafting Facebook, but I'm going to do blog posts, so at least then people further down the line can still check out the photos. So basically this challenge, it's to encourage you guys at home to you know, be fearless. If you want to make something, just don't be frightened. Just give it a go, and look, if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. Like, I know this is based around dressmaking, but look, it can be any craft. But especially if it is dressmaking, it's a really good idea just to make up something, either in a fabric somebody's given you that you're not, or like one you're not that keen on, or you know, some calico or something if it's like a woven kind of garment. And you know what, if you haven't got something at the end of it, then don't worry too much, you know, because you can have another go. What I'm finding myself doing a lot recently is making a garment, basically a toile, a practice garment, but I'm making it to the quality that if it turned out okay, I could wear it. But I'm generally doing that with fabrics that have been you know, donated to me, or something I don't really like. And it's similar to what I did with the garment I'm going to show you today. Like, I know that if you follow me on social media, you'll have already seen what I made, and I'm really pleased with it. And basically this is another thing that will help having the blog. I've shown you the pattern, and sometimes because the lights make it look a bit bright, you can't see it very well. So I've taken a picture of this pattern and put that on the blog so you can have a good look. And it's a Tilly and the Buttons, and Fifi. Now, when I found out about this challenge, I'd already started to make the Fifi, and I wasn't fearful of it at all. But when I started to make it, I did realise it was quite different to some of the other things I made. The fabric that I used to make it had been donated to me, so I didn't know what it was exactly. It felt very lovely, and it felt very cotton-like, but dressmaking cotton, not quilting cotton. and yeah, so I knew, and it was quite drapey and loose, and you had to cut the top on the bias. So if you imagine your threads on a piece of fabric, you've got threads going this way and threads going that way, and they're all woven together. That's what makes woven fabric. When you cut a bias garment, you're not cutting your garment straight, you're cutting it at a 45-degree angle, and that's to get a really lovely light drape. So I'd not, even though I've made my bias binding, and I've cut toys and all sorts of things, and I've had to sew bias edges with quilts and things, I'd not done a bias cut garment, so that was something new for me. And I did have some issues with things when I was stitching the stay stitching, which is the securing stitches, just to make it a bit securer for when you sew it together. This was when I was going around a breast piece of the pattern. My fabric was all was bunching up. So what I found helped on my machine is to drop the stitch down a little, because I'd lengthened the stitch for doing the stay stitching quite high. I dropped that down a bit, and I actually had to take my tension down to 2, that dial on the top, which the average is 4, but I actually took it down to 2, which I've never had to do that before. But for this fabric, on these bias edges, I did have to do that. So regarding the obviously you have to decide on a size, don't you, when you're cutting something out. And basically I'd made the Tilly and the Buttons Jessa shorts version just before I made this, and based on my measurements I decided to make the size 2. But actually, when I made it, I made a wearable toile, but it was quite big. So I don't think I've done that yet, but when I finish this video, I'm going to add the picture of the first pair I made onto the blog. I think it will be right at the end of the pictures that I've posted. I think I was attempting to do that last night, and then I had to nip out, and then I didn't end up doing that. So so they were too big, so I went in. I thought they were that big, really. I thought, oh, do you know what, I'm going to go down a whole size. If it's too tight, then I'll go back to the other pair, unpick them, make some adjustments. But as it happens, the smaller size was a really good fit. So when it comes to choosing the size for this, regarding the shorts, even though that's the second part you do, you make the top first, I decided to just go straight in with the size 1, because I'd had the size 1 Jessa shorts. But what I'd say with this pattern, it probably wouldn't have mattered if I'd have cut the 2. You could have even cut bigger, because the way you get the fit is that you get your elastic measuring. You basically measure 2 inches down from your natural waist. Now your natural waist isn't when you kind of turn to the side and where it dips in, that's your natural waist. You measure 2 inches down from there, and then you take a measurement all the way around, and then you do basically a sum. The sum's in there, and that's how you get your measurement. So say had the shorts been a little bit baggier, it wouldn't have mattered, because the elastic would have fitted. So I'll bear that in mind. So don't think, oh gosh, I've got to go the size smaller. Do what you think if you're going to make this item, and rest assured it's all going to be down to the elastic, isn't it? So don't worry about that. Now, why I was quite excited to make this, I'm like nearly 40. I'll be 40 later this year, and I haven't wore a camisole set in a long time, and the reason for this is I used to attempt buying these in my late teenage years, 18, 19 kind of thing, and I never could get one that fit me right. I'd always find if it had like a boob bit, even though generally the shorts would fit and the vest would kind of fit, if it had a boob bit, it kind of like sat up here, not where it needed to be. So I kind of gave up in the idea, or if you pulled the boob bit down, stretched it down, it would be like here and just look ridiculous. So I kind of just gave up on buying them, and it's so sad, isn't it, really? So I was quite excited to make this, but I knew I wasn't just going to go by, because what I find is if I know I do a full bust adjustment. If I make a woven garment, I know that generally they say what you do is you measure above your bust, not your bust, and then do the full bust adjustment. But I do it the other way. I measure underneath my bust and I go by that measurement, and I generally, this works for me. If I get all those body pieces that size, for that size, and then do the full bust adjustment, that suits me. So but obviously this isn't your typical oh gosh, here we go, the same old thing with the lights. Isn't your typical full bust adjustment, because it's two bust pieces with pleats in that you attach to the body. So the first instance, what I did is I cut out the size one, but just one side. Well, I know that's probably not a good idea, is it? Because your boobs might be different sizes. And what I was bearing in mind with this, like you're gonna measure a bit bigger with a bra, aren't you? But I wasn't gonna be wearing a bra with this, so I had to make sure I measured myself without a bra. So I cut out the smallest size and I measured it up to me. And initially I thought, oh yeah, that will be fine. But then when I looked into it, this bit, you know, is going to be on the side seam. It just wasn't going to be on the side seam. So I attempted tracing the size 2. And I did the same, and I thought, no. I'm sorry if you're new here. I didn't mention my regular people are going to be used to. I usually have a dog with me, and generally it's Rafe. He's in here. And believe it or not, there is a dog in this. And I've got 2 dogs, but what it is, he wasn't doing it today actually. When I come in my craft room, he actually starts whining, but he wasn't actually doing that before this video, but I just went and got him anyway, because you guys, you're used to seeing him, but it's like he knows. So even when I'm just like crafting in here now, I often bring him in just because he just wants to be with me. So anyway, so if you see something every now and then, it is a dog, and I will get him out properly to introduce you. And he's Rafe, and my other dog is Holly. She's older. Rafe is, I got his age wrong about a year ago on one of my videos, but this time last year I was saying he was 2, but he wasn't, he was 3. So he's actually not long been 4 in February, and Holly is 8. She was 8 in January, so they're the same breed of dog, both Chihuahuas. So anyway, so did the 2. I thought, no, that's not going to be my size. So I ended up cutting the size 3. It's all up here actually. I've put all the pieces here just in case I needed to show you any of them. I cut out the size 3, and basically I pinned the pleats into it, and I decided, yeah, I was going to go with that. But then I thought, well, how am I going to get this to work with the rest of the top? So obviously I didn't know if it was going to work, and the fabric I was using, it had been given to me, it felt lovely, but I didn't really like the fabric enough that I was going to make a garment out of it. But actually, as the Fifi set, I absolutely love it. So what I decided to do is I cut the back piece has 3 pieces at the back. I cut those in the size 1, and then obviously I've got the breasts in the size 3. So what I decided to do is I traced off the side, there's just one body piece at the front under here. I basically traced that off in the size 3 so it would definitely fit the breast pieces, and what I decided to do is I checked where the waistline is, and I worked out where it would be, how wide it would be if it was a size 1. So I made those marks, and I did those marks for a size 1 all the way down. So basically it started off as a 3, but I graded it down to the waist to a 1, and then it continued to be a 1 the rest of the way down. And I didn't know how that was going to work, but actually it turned out fine, which I'm absolutely over the moon with. Now when I was putting the garment together, so after I'd done like the stay stitching and things, what you were supposed to do is you hem the top pieces down a couple of times, but I'd read on to the next bit and I stepped away from this project, and I came back another day and I actually forgot to do that. I went straight into attaching the bust pieces to the body, and and you do that with French seams. So basically, when you sew something together, you put pretty side to pretty side, and then you know your raw edges are on the inside, which you either like you run through an overlocker or you zigzag and things. But a French seam is quite posh, and actually in France apparently they call them English seams. The seams less, so maybe they seem fancy to them, it seems fancy to us. So basically with that you basically put wrong side to wrong side, so your pretty sides are out, sew it, you trim half that seam line down, fold it then the right way, pretty side to pretty side, and sew it again, so you have this enclosed edge inside, and it's really lovely. And you do that under here, and I totally get why Tilly has done this, because it's a pyjama thing. You might even be wearing it for bed and things. It's for comfort, and especially like my viewers know that I often say I think I'm on the autistic spectrum, and tags irritate me. I've got serious sensory issues, and often a lot of the time you will see that I'm in a lot of stretch knits. I do wear a lot of woven and things, but when I'm in my videos and I've got my leggings that I wear around the house, I'm a bit like I need the comfort. And even actually I've got my bra on, but as the day goes on, we wanted to take that off as well, but I will be leaving it on, because actually it's such a shame. There's a local yarn shop near me that's closing down. They do sell fabric as well, but it's more quilting fabric. It's closing down, and I really want to get the yarn, if they've got it, to make a Gryffindor. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. A Gryffindor cardigan, to knit a Gryffindor cardigan and a Gryffindor scarf. And for my 40th later this year, I'd really like to go to Harry Potter Studio. I have been before, but my dream is for my 40th to be there and have my Gryffindor outfit on. So I don't know if I'd go full school skirt and shirt and tie. I don't know. It depends how embarrassed my family would be, because I've got like three teenage sons, and I think they went for that embarrassment stage, but I think they know what I'm like now, and they kind of let me get on with it, and they know that I have some quirks. So anyway, I forgot to hem these breast bits, so I got all carried away with my French seam. Ooh la la la, it looks great. And I thought, oh no, I've not hemmed them. And you'd think, oh, it doesn't matter after, but it's the way it joins in the middle. I thought, oh, what have I done? So I have a load of binding left over here, because what it is, I was more of a quilt maker really, more than dressmaking, even though my first experiences of sewing as a child was all clothes related. When I got back into it later on, and I did a lot of hand embroidery and cross stitch and things, and later life I got into bag making, toy making and quilting. So I've just basically always made my own bindings, but I know that dressmakers, they're more inclined, I think most of the time they're used to buying binding. And actually when I've actually bought I've bought a couple, well, I've actually bought 3 bindings, I think. The rest I've made them all, and the 2 that I bought, the first 2, the quality, I think it's like some like polycotton or something. It's man-made, and it's just awful. You know, it did the job, but it's not nice. And the 3rd one I bought, I'm going to tell you about, but I totally forgot I'd bought it and why I'd bought it, but I have remembered now. So anyway, so I had to dig through my leftover bindings from when I've done quilts and projects and things, and I got this lovely pink, pale pink binding, a bit left over for little ballet shoes, and so I decided to bind the edge all round here. Now it does look gorgeous, and if you decide you like my binding on mine, because it's not supposed to be, I still recommend, if you're going to bind it, I would bind it first. At the hem stage, that's when I would bind it, not when you've sewn it together and you've got this point. Because especially if you're not used to binding, like I'm used to this kind of thing because I quilt, but it had then an internal bit that you had to deal with, then an internal point moving the binding around, so it was a little bit of faff, but I did a lot of that. If you obviously my people that have been watching me, if you see before Christmas, I made a nativity. There were wooden dolls with all little felt outfits, and I painted their faces, and I made a fabric nativity set. Now all you would see, it's like a stable all together, but basically before you put it all together, it's a big flat piece with all these different components, and you literally bind it all, but you've got loads of internal curves and weird, you know, some that are 90 degree, and you know, some, you know, and all kinds of angles. So you know, I had to go all around this and then put it all together. So I've kind of got a bit of experience in it, but I wouldn't, why put yourself through that when you don't need to? So if you like the way mine is bound, bind it when you should do the hemming. The only thing that has occurred to me is the way my top has finished, I really like where it sits, but I've realised if had I have done the hem and fold it down to it would sit lower, but I actually like where it sits. So if I ever make this again, and I'm sure that I will, I would like to try it with the hem, but I've got to bear in mind that I might not like the height of it on my bust. I might like that extra bit of on the top, because I've not had to fold it down, I've just attached the binding to where the cut edge is. So I was like, I don't know what I'll do with that if I make it again. Now if I just go, oh, I'll just bind it again. Now the only downside then was when I'd bound my edges, you bind, your straps are binding, you bind all round the back, but I didn't then have enough of that binding, and I haven't got any more of that fabric. And normally I'm quite good and I check all these things, but I think I was a bit flustered and a bit annoyed about my mistake, and I just tried to sort it out. I thought, what am I going to do? So I went digging around. I thought, is there another binding I've got in there that would go okay? So this one, because that one was a pale pink, I found this one, it's really contrasting, and it's not one I've made. It's actually like a satin, bright pink, and it's really, really skinny. So I decided I was going to make it with that, all the straps and everything. The only thing I would say, I think this is the kind of binding that you would use on a garment, and you would put it, I said this in my last video actually, that you would kind of have that on the inside. So if you did that, it would be there. It's not one you'd kind of like have folded in half, because it's so skinny when you hold it in half. And someone's here. Hello? Is that you? Well, he's gone. That was my middle son. I just heard the door, and I think he heard me talking to you, and I just heard, huh. You know, that he's my 15-year-old, my middle child, you know, teenage boys, you know, we didn't want to talk. So basically it was really, it's really delicate and really beautiful. Like, I'm going to show you it a bit more, and you will be able to look at my photographs. But what you'll have to bear in mind is if you make Tilly's, she gives you the pattern pieces for the binding. So your binding, like, I haven't worked this out actually, how thick the binding would be. So that's what size you'd cut it. If I fold it in half, and then I fold it into the middle, I'm kind of trying to gauge. I don't think that's very centre. Sorry about this. I had planned on cutting some of the binding out the way you were supposed to, so I was all prepared. So yes, so your binding, you're looking at, when it's all sewn down, the thickness of your straps, it's not quite half an inch. It's 1, 2, 3 3/8 of an inch. I think your straps will be thickness wise and the bit going all the way around, but mine was even tinier. If I fold mine in half, mine was probably just under 2/8 of an inch, and even though it does look beautiful and delicate, what I will say, I shouldn't have screwed that up, should I? That was the only piece I didn't trace these, because I didn't end up using them. It's just a tad more tricky to sew, and then, you know, and you've got this real tiny piece that you're trying to work with. And then I did have, after I'd just finished my garment, I did have a piece come out at the back that it hadn't quite caught, so I had to unpick it, push the fabric back in, and then stitch over it, which was, it's gutting, isn't it, when you're at the last hurdle of a garment and it's like that. So that, I think that's all really I need to speak to you about. So I wanted to explain the things that I did different, so you may wonder why mine looks a little bit different. I think as well, I might have done my bust pleating. I did my bust pleating. I'm used to putting all pleats going outwards towards the seams, because that's kind of what I'm using every time I've ever done them. But I think your pleats are meant to turn inwards, looking at the pattern. And I've had a look at other people's since making mine, and I probably should have done that first, shouldn't I? I didn't, you know, often with garments, I kind of like look them up and think, oh, and see what other people have done. But I just went for it, and basically this is the fabric. I think, oh gosh, I've lost. Can you still see her? She just, what it is, I had her upstairs, and to basically get the shorts on, you've got to kind of take, this is Daisy by the way, you have to take her apart. So I've carried her downstairs, and I don't think I've tightened the nut right. So this is Daisy, and she's wearing my Fifi pyjamas, and oh gosh, I'm stuck on a pin here. What is this? Oh yeah, it is a pin. And so yes, it looks quite delicate, and actually I think it looks better on than it does on Daisy, really, because, you know, she's got nothing really here, has she? I probably could have done with padding her out a little bit, really, shouldn't I? So so if I give her a little time, I think I've got a thread hanging off here, but you might not see that. So that's how delicate, and that's the two seams. So you put your straps right where the seams are, and you've got these two lovely seams. And actually, if you watch my last video, you'll realise I was really excited, because my husband often, when I like try clothes on, he often doesn't like them whether they're shop bought and things. He does actually prefer my homemade stuff better, because they're, you know, they're made to fit. And he did with my Jessa shorts. He did say they were the best shorts fit wise he's ever seen on me, so that was a real compliment. So I was absolutely over the moon with that, and I didn't know what he'd think of it. Like, I know you say it shouldn't really matter, should it? Because I know I would wear things that I know he doesn't like, because I like it, but I'd kind of think, oh well, it's the day I'm not with him, kind of thing. But you do want your husband to like what you're wearing, don't you? Want him to go, oh, you look nice, don't you? So I can't help. You know, it means, like, I do like it if I get a compliment on a garment, but it means so much if my husband says it, because it's so difficult to get one out of him, in all honesty. And sorry, darling. So if he doesn't want you know, wow, he says he doesn't. But I did mention last night that I think I give him a mention in every video, so whether he'll start watching them or not, I don't know. So I'll never say anything bad. It's not bad, so I've got nothing bad to say. He's got his quirks as well. So if I try and lift it back up, something went wrong last time, didn't it? It looked like I got poltergeist, and sorry, and those lids fell down. You couldn't see them, but you just heard these almighty crashes. So here she is, and the shorts are teeny weeny shorts, but it's beautiful. It just looks so nice on. I'm chuffed a bit. So she's going again, look, and actually this was really, this is a happy accident, because I think it really sets it off, and the bow, I've got ribbons and it matched that perfectly. So I really am delighted with it. And last year, it basically, I made this last year but I didn't ever bring it on YouTube because I think I was doing a lot of filming at the start of the year. I think I went up to about Easter, and then even though I was crafting and things, I didn't start filming again to the November, and I made this in that time, and so I've never shown it on YouTube, but I did put it on my Instagram, and it's the Bugakan. Is it Bugakan? Basically, it's the dressing gown by Gather. So look up dressing gown by Gather, Bugakan. I know how to spell it, so I just don't know how to say it. And you're meant to make it in a really like silky, drapey kind of fabric, really like lovely. But when I ordered the pattern, I ordered this waffle fabric, which is a bit like hotel looking, isn't it? And I'm just a big kid. I just wanted my name on it, and I embroidered my name in a frame on it like that, and actually now I've done this, I've had them on together, and they really complement each other. And actually, this binding that I had bought and I hadn't used, I remembered what it was for, and I think the intention, and I totally forgot, it wasn't until I pieced these two together, oh gosh, that's what that binding was for. My intention was, I'd considered round the sleeve, just at the join, I'd thought about putting a pink band round there. I think that looks really beautiful, and I even considered putting that band, you know, that where you've got that internal edge, putting that around there. I think that would look pretty stunning actually, and a lovely added extra, which I could still do if I bought some more now, because I don't think I've got enough. But do you know what, I think I was just really keen, and I just liked it as it is. So maybe one day I will add that extra. I'm a bit of an embellisher, because I'm kind, even though I didn't do GCSE art and didn't do textiles, because there wasn't even textiles to do when I was at school. Actually, I didn't want to go to my senior school, and when I went to the open day, the only reason I then really wanted to go there was because they had a room full of sewing machines, and I was just absolutely over the moon. And because I'd use a sewing machine, you know, a child's one and things, and I was really into that kind of thing. And you know, I never saw a sewing machine once when I was in senior school, so it was really, back when I was there, it was really education. Oh, I just see Rafe. Education, you know, that kind of thing, but not, you know, written work education, not so, look at him grabbing me, not so practical. So here he is. This is Rafe. Now I know, if you know a little bit about chihuahuas, they are tiny dogs, and but actually he is one of the smaller kinds. Actually, we didn't realise at the time, I've said this on my videos before, he was the smallest in the litter. Like, I didn't notice that. The breeder actually mentioned it, and the first time we saw him, all the other puppies were running around, and he was sleeping, and I was a bit concerned about if he was healthy. But the next time when we went back again, he was running around as happy as anything with the other puppies. So yeah, so the only health problem he's had, actually, he's got something called a luxating patella. So sometimes when after he's been walking a bit, he'll lift his back leg up and kind of like hop around and stuff. So I can't really overwalk him really, which is a shame, because I do feel, did I cause it myself? Because I used to walk him for, like, you know, miles really, and I think, did I overwalk him a little bit when he was a pup? But apparently this kind of thing can happen. You know, the only other health problem my other dog has had, she had a hernia and she had to have a hernia done, so they have had a couple of little things, but that condition he's got, they could we did take him to have surgery, but when we got there the surgeon said he could make it worse, and it just wasn't worth it really, the the size and things, so yeah, so we'll have to take good care of him, and I can't like over walking because he doesn't walk very far and he starts limping, but he does still enjoy the walk, but there's other ways I can carry him around and things, so that's nice. So is there anything I want to mention? I don't know what I'm bringing you next time, because usually I kind of show a few things and I say what I'm doing next time, and I don't say when I'm going to film again. But so yes, so I have been to my other viewers, I have been doing my red work. I'm over halfway through another piece of red work embroidery. I've started now making the wings for the caterpillar that I made, and now I'm making the wings to make her in a butterfly, and I'm obviously in the market for some yarn for some Harry Potter thing, but I don't know what my next dressmaking thing is yet. I've not quite decided. I've got a pile of fabric there, I've got some patterns, like I have said before, sometimes I've got these patterns are not the right fabric and vice versa, so I'm gonna have a look and see what I fancy making. I might, even though I'm kind of itching to be doing summer things, I might make things I think, well, they're going to be too warm for the summer, I can make use of them now, so yeah, so I'll see what there is, and actually because I've been doing a bit of like chunky knitting, because you saw my knitted hat, haven't you, and you've seen like my crochet cardigan, the yarn's quite chunky and I've got bits left, so I've seen a few like headbands and things I could do, like crochet ones, but I've got so many crochet hooks, but none of them were big enough for any of the projects that I like the look of. And actually I was complaining to my husband, and he said, oh, that's like me with spanners, I've got all these spanners and I've never got the one I need, so I've stocked up, haven't I? So I've got some real chunky crochet hooks. I got them from the Wool Warehouse. So the largest one I've got here is a 12. I know I already own a 10. I've got a 9, an 8, a 7, a 6.5 and a 6. I do suspect I have already got a 6, but I think it's in a bag where I started a crochet blanket and then kind of got a bit fed up with it. I was not finding it very challenging really. It will look really striking, but I wasn't finding it challenging, so I don't know whether to get that out instead of making a full-size thing, see how big it is. And I've got like a little wooden bed that's like a doll bed that I've got a few little toys in the craft room on it that I've made. I haven't made any like bedding for it, and I would love to do a mini doll's quilt on it, but I might put that on there and to get some use out of it, and might abandon that. But then I think what it is, I got quite a lot of yarn for it, because I was in a couple of knitting subscriptions where you got the magazines, and I was getting the same colour yarn, and it is quite a nice quality, and it'd be a shame to waste. So I don't know, I'm not a massive UFO person, but I have got the odd one, like a bobble cushion I did the front, and then I used the fabric on something else for the back, and I've got that blanket. But generally I'm pretty good. I start something, I might have more than one thing on the go, but I do finish them. But there's just the occasional, it's probably just those two things really that are UFOs. So anyway, I hope that you've liked today's video. I know it was a little bit different for my regular viewers, and I know that not all my regular viewers dressmake. You might follow me more because of my red work and my Mandy Shaw makes and my Janet Clare and that kind of thing, or it might be because of my knitting or the punch needle. So so I'm sorry if like that wasn't for you today, but I'm involved in this challenge, and I've really enjoyed it, and thank you so much if you're new here. I really appreciate your time stopping by, and all you ladies that are involved in it, I'm going to check you all out as as well in time. Just give me a bit of time and I can go around checking all your videos and subscribing and things. So it'd be really lovely to see what you are all making. And thank you for being here. So this is Saturday. I think you see me Monday, Tuesday. Remember, there'll be a blog post attached to it with photos and a few words and things. And I think I might be able to link the other YouTubers. I think this might be getting a playlist. I've not been involved in one before, but I might be able to link the other YouTubers underneath and things. So but just watch this space. You'll see, when you watch this video, you'll see what I've put underneath there. So please check out the blog so you can see all the pictures and added things that I thought that you might need to see. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.